And for anyone chancing upon this programme who is not frozen in the dark, welcome to this special production for a guaranteed audience of 43.
I'm joined by Mark Watson today. Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining me.
How you doing, Simon? Glad to be back, mate. I enjoyed the last one with Dale, so looking forward to doing this season's the 2025 version.
You're obviously the owner of Futera United?
Futera United, yeah, founder.
Founder, okay, one of the partners. Okay, we've talked on the podcast before how the model and how you sell tokens, and tokens allow people to be stakeholders and have a decision in various things, from choosing kits to transfers to team selection. I wanted to go into a few more details about that and understand a bit more.
So it's basically a democracy. I feel a massive disconnect with modern football. Like, I have nothing to do with West Ham, and they're the love of my life, basically. So I wanted to create a club where it wasn't just an ego boost for me and people around it. The fans got to feel that they actually had part of it, and they actually felt that they really had decisions. Like, it's really fun to decide what kit you want without any doubt at all. That's great. Or the corner flag designs, etc., or the music they walk out to. I want to decide on other stuff. I want to decide on who we sign. Like, why can't the fans who watch every single game get to choose who their heroes are? Why is somebody on the board choosing that? And then I wanted to boil it down more. I wanted to take it to tactics. Like, we all think that we're Alex Ferguson. We all think we know what. We all think we're Pep at the moment. I wanted to see if we were. I wanted to give us decisions, not stupid decisions, not like, these are curated decisions. We're not asking, should the goalkeeper play up front, although we once did that. I want proper decisions where we have 2 or 3 left backs. One of them's on form, but one of them's maybe a better player. Who do we play in that position?
So,
create as a democracy and make it real. That's the key thing. It's got to be authentic. Like, these cannot be overturned. If they upset the managers and the coaches, or if they upset me, that's part of the game. We all signed up to it. We know how it works, basically.
And so how often do you allow them to have choices or votes?
Tactics is every single game. So they get 3 to 4 votes every single game on tactics. And then throughout, like, the history of the club, it's key moments throughout the club. So whether that be, like, to give you an example, this year we decided on which kits we want. And we got one of the players to design all the kits, like, in conjunction with the players themselves as well. And so the home kit, we were sensible. Our colours are black and gold. So they a really lovely black and gold kit. Our away kit colours are now going to be sort of white and gold. So they decided on a lovely white and gold kit. But for the third kit, we went a little bit crazy. It was actually
that's the one I want. That's the one I want.
Yeah, and so, like, the idea of this is to go viral as well. We want people to know who we are. Like, Futera United, we want to not just be a football club, we want it to be a brand. We're lucky enough that Futera is a brand. It's a worldwide brand. People in the collectibles industry know it. And Futera United is like an offshoot of that. So we put it to the vote, and we gave them some crazy ideas. One is that our new stadium is closer to Ayatollah than it probably is to Bangkok. First time we've done that. So one of the kits that they could vote on was the Ayatollah Warriors costume. So literally it would be the Ayatollah Warriors, like, sort of outfit, red and gold, etc. But the other one we did, which I don't think anyone's ever done on a kit, was the elephant pant design on a kit. It pretty much got 100% of the vote. It's the weirdest thing is, I did the photo shoot for it yesterday with all the players. We hadn't really told them too much about which one had won. I think they all hoped it was that one. But we also thought it was going to be, we allowed to swear in this, Simon, or do I have to?
You can swear.
We expected it to be shit, to be fair. This was a joke. It was a little bit of it. We've made it really nice. It's really lovely. And so they wore it yesterday. We put them into like a photo shoot, brought everybody round, got a studio, and got them photographed, and they loved it. It looks amazing. And that's all of those kits and all those decisions are what the fans wanted. So at the end of the day, that's what the fans will purchase. That's what they'll enjoy watching on match days, etc. This whole concept makes sense to me.
Yeah.
We did it on the blockchain, which makes a lot of people's eyes roll. We didn't do it on the blockchain because we wanted to become the next big NFT company or the next big crypto company. In fact, it's a subject I don't know too much about. But we did it on the blockchain because currently, as technology goes, it's the best way for democracy. Like, you can vote and it gets covered on the blockchain. It never goes away. We can see that those votes are there. Very difficult to cheat, etc. on that. And so it's not like having an online voting system where you can refresh your browser, etc., and take away your cash and go into it. So we put that up as the way to vote. The guys buy tokens, and each token equals a vote, and then they go on and they sort of get their votes. They're very sensible on it, which is, as a fan group, amazed me. Like, you have a couple of them who've got huge amounts of votes, but they won't use them to change the vote. If there's something they really believe in, they go for it. If there's not, then they stay away from it. They're not just doing it for the sake of it, which in this kind of system, when it's in early doors, we haven't got a massive community, it really matters, because it means you don't just have one guy making every single decision.
And so each token is a vote.
It's a vote, yeah.
And is the token a lifetime, or you review them annually?
Think of it as a commodity. You can sell your vote to somebody else. You can.
So it lasts forever.
Yeah, it lasts forever. There was no business model in this where every season you had to renew your votes, etc. This was, if you backed me at the start, then you backed me forever at the end of the day. And if you believe that we were going to create this crazy idea and not run away after 2 minutes, which anyone else who came up with this idea basically did, you deserve to be part of it for forever. Like, I know he's on podcast, but we have people like Blue who probably know more about the club than I do. So you've got fans like Blue, for instance, who I know he's been on podcasts, like I think yourself, he's been on your podcast, etc. He lives 6,500 miles away from our stadium. And yeah, he probably knows more about the players than I do. Our fans have become so embroiled into the club, and they're just part of the sort of foundations of the club, that I don't know if we ever thought it would work so well, but it works fantastically. And for anyone who doesn't know the history, we started off as an amateur club, so literally at the bottom, which is what we decided to do. Don't buy our way into the leagues, literally come in at sort of BPL 4, I think it was. And over the 3-4 years, we sort of built ourselves up until the league, in their wisdom, decided to put out the TSP, the Thai Semi-Pro, at which point we then applied for.
How much of the token cost?
It depends. So at the moment, like, a token is 0.07 ETH, I believe. But then you can buy them on the secondary market as well. I think every now and again one comes up and you can probably buy it for 0.02 or 0.03. I haven't looked at it for a while, but yeah, it's around about that. But if you want to buy it straight from us, it's 0.07 ETH.
And they're limited numbers?
Yeah, so there is, like, at the moment out there is about 1,000. I think there's 7,000 in total that are, so once 7,000 have gone, then that would be it capped. There would be no more sort of, there'd be no more votes, if you like. There's always been discussion about capping it already. So you get to maybe 1,500 and then it's capped, because I suppose we learn as we went along. But one of the things that you do learn is keeping your community of holders small is really important. Like, you don't want probably 1 million votes, because suddenly that vote becomes just nothing. As you probably sort of, I think probably the best number is maybe 100 to 200 votes on something gets you probably the best results from what we've seen on it. So that would be the sort of number that you'd be looking for, sort of concurrent users at the same time coming in and voting. That would be great.
And what would be the breakdown of ownership between Thais and non-Thais?
Thailand's small amounts. There are Thai people here that have them, but the breakdown probably is more into the West. You've got a fair amount in America. I'd say England is actually, Australia, I think, surprisingly, was a major player for us. So there's quite a few Australians in it, English and American. That would be pretty much where it is. There's a little bit in Thailand as well. But what we found, Thais are the on-the-ground fans. They'll come to the games. We've been lucky enough to build up a fan base, which is good. So we get quite good numbers at games. But that's important. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Yes.
And do you think that as time grows and more Thai fans come along, they might be more interested in becoming part of it once they understand the process? Because I think as an on-the-ground fan, you probably don't realise how it's run. You start the games. And
yeah, I think the dream for us in Thailand, and this takes time to do, is to get, like, we're a trading card company. That's what we do. We make football trading cards. And so becoming the sort of football card communities club is the overall dream for us locally. Yeah, we're lucky enough to be sponsored by a company called Cardster, who's probably the biggest distributor of cards in Thailand. They've really got on board with this. So we're doing special things with them about bringing out card sets just for Futera United to give out to sort of fans in Thailand. So the idea to get those on the ground fans involved more in sort of decision making to us is really important. We have an academy here as well. So we didn't just build this as like, oh, here's an idea. Great, start a football club. This will be fun. Like we had all the infrastructure there. And now we want to build around that and have a community coming to the games. And Futera United becoming like synonymous with Thai football as the biggest names of Thai football, Buriram, etc. That would be the dream, like locally, I think.
You said last year that ambition was 2 years to get out of TS. Are you still confident?
Last year, what we learned was that to get out of the TS, you need a striker. That is literally what changes it between the teams. So you looked at Dome last year, and they're the best striker in the league by a country mile. I'd argue that no one else had a striker, like attacking midfielders.
You can say that the whole league, really. Actually, T3 as well. Very few.
So we decided that as soon as the season finished, we would start scouting and looking. And that means paying players from the moment the season starts all the way to now, which I don't think anyone else has done. We used the FA Cup as a scouting mission so that we actually trialled before the FA Cup. We played players in the FA Cup as well. We had an ex-Thai international playing for us in the FA Cup. We looked everywhere that we could to try and find that magic striker to come and play for us that would be your sort of 10 to 15 goals a season, which obviously it's a short season. So 10 to 15 goals is the kind of striker for us. And we found it, which is the key thing. So if you'd asked me and we hadn't found him, I'd say like it's up in the air. We don't know too much about the other teams, but I'm really confident. We've signed a striker from Maltong. So that sort of, he's a young striker. He was just about to be let go. Don't know why. He's absolute mustard. And he's the best name I've ever heard of anybody in Thailand. His name is Ninja. He's the business. Yeah, we watched him in a few trial games and he was just on a different level completely. Really excited about him coming and starting for us, and that gives us a lot of faith. We brought in an attacking midfielder as well who played in the semi-pro last year. He played for EGY Thai. Famously only played one game last year after getting thrown out, and he was sort of their star player. So he's come over to us this year. He's the business as well. So I think the infrastructure is now there properly. We've got one season under our belt. We understand it a bit more. Like it was intimidating the first time you go into it. And now looking across it, I don't see why we can't. Like, I would be disappointed if we weren't top 2 at least. So it's...
And the clubs you're playing against this year are predominantly the same teams as last year? Or
this is sort of like the craziness of the TSP. The TSP is basically, you qualify if you've got a great stadium. If you find a stadium before everybody else, you qualify. It's as mad as that. Like, even with us coming 3rd last year in the league, it didn't qualify us for definite for the TSP. So what you're basically doing is you'll run rounds very early trying to find a stadium. They don't look at financials. They don't look at your playing ability. It's just get a stadium and whoever can get it quickest gets in. Do you know, allegedly, they might disagree with me on that. Other clubs might say that's not correct, but 2 years we've been told that our showers in the stadium we want to use don't work properly. So like we can't be in the league, which is a bit crazy. So it leaves us with, have I got it listed somewhere? Yeah, a list of the teams that are in with us. Well, list of the teams last year, we had Dome, Lucky-san, Saturn, and BSL. And this year, we've got Bangkapi, who play at Rankumpeng University. I'm definitely going to say all of this wrong. Ayutthaya PK, who obviously play in Ayutthaya. We've got Lopburi, who again play in Lopburi. The brilliant stadium, Jafai Academy Stadium, which is like one of my favourite stadiums, I think, in Thailand. You've got Singbury Warriors, Kunsuk, Saraburi, and Police Lakrabang. Simon, I'm not going to pretend to know anything about any of them except for Police Lakrabang, who we've played a couple of times. They're a decent side. So
lots of unknown quantities in a way. So it still puts it out there. But you got your second year experience really helped.
We're the only team who's had a year's experience in it. So that definitely helps. The big thing for this year, the league change, is that you're now playing teams that are outside of Bangkok. So last year, we were only playing teams in Bangkok. Now it's within a 3-hour radius. So the central, I think it's the same for T3 as well. The central unit has become a 3-hour radius from Bangkok. So whereas last time, sort of half an hour was our most difficult game, we're now playing 3 hours away. So it should be interesting. It's a bit of a longer season. We've got 7 games home and away. So it should be decent.
I mean, in T3 South, I think our longest journey is 18 hours. That's you know, some of the logistics is insane. I mean, being in centre, you might play more teams, but at least the travel expenses must be a lot less. So the ultimate ambitions are T1,
yeah.
you would say? Realistic?
I believe I've been here a long time. I've been around Thai football for a long, long time. I've done silly things like being an agent for a bit. It's not what I do, but I've done it just to sort of try and get my head around it. I believe that run correctly, a club can go through every single league to get up to T1 and into the Champions League. And I believe that this club is not run by me. It's my idea, but I didn't come in like most Farang owners come in and say, right, I'm going to grab another Farang who knows what he's doing, and he knows another Farang that knows what they're doing. And in the end, they have no idea because they can't communicate. They can't get the players to do what they want to because the players are going to play for Thai coaches more than they're going to play for a Farang coach, etc. So we have the academy that's been around for sort of 13 years, and we based it on the structure of that. The idea that from the bottom of the academy to the top, they had a pathway to get into our club. We brought in Pizel Rumrai, who used to play for the national team. Most people know him as Den. He came in as the sort of technical director. He was seen as sort of one of the best young coaches, and certainly, if not the best youth coach in Thailand. And so getting him coming in as sort of technical director for the club, he then chose the coach and everybody that he wanted around him before we started the club. That was like our first thing was, could we make a foundation for the club to give ourselves the best chance? And so they came in. We then like trying to get a coaching team to understand before it starts that a group of guys in England and America are going to be making some of the decisions for them. Or as has happened on occasion, I'm running down with ideas halfway through the game because we've got fans like on Football Manager showing us new formations that could work because we've got players on the bench and we've had an injury and stuff here. Like it's madness, but they like embraced it. I've known Den and his team for years and years. So we sat down and said, is this worth it? Can we actually make it happen? And those guys embraced everything. They get excited about the votes now. They're calling me up like on a Friday way before the games are just to see what's going to happen. And we created a foundation that meant that I think it's possible. I think probably the things that always let you down is we're lucky enough to have the financial sort of clout to be able to do this, but until you start doing it, you don't realize how expensive it is. Like a TSP club, Simon, it's mad how much we spend. It is incredible. I don't think even the fans are sort of have any idea what the financials are of running this club, but it's become such a passion project now. And we've been doing it for sort of 4 years that it's very difficult to not see this through. Like the idea that we to T1, I think is plausible. We've not taken anything to chance. We're working out every single tiny little bit, and we have Thai advisors all the time telling us how to do it, who are the players we should bring in, etc. It's really important that I think if we were going to do this, that we weren't just sitting still and doing nothing because it would die otherwise. So trying to push up is definitely a major part.
Going forward, okay, the day that you reach T1, I'm a big fan of Lewis FC in the UK. I used to live in Brighton and watch a lot. And they're a very similar model, but they renew yearly. But one owner is only allowed one vote. And that keeps it stops the bad player who might enter. Because you're not concerned that if you reach a stage where you're in T1, suddenly other people say, you know what, I can influence this game a lot more. I can buy X amount of tokens and make them play their goalkeeper, striker.
So we've learned so much that the structure changes as we go on. We understand at the moment we understand at this level what can go wrong with it. And so we change everything as we go. And we're always in talks with the fans about how we're changing things. But as you go up the leagues, it changes more. There's no doubt about it. Things that people don't think about, TV rights, for instance. We stream every game worldwide so that the fans exactly what's going on so they can get behind their players. As you get to T1, this becomes a lot more difficult. Like TV, correct. So T1 becomes a lot more difficult. So we're going to have to work out how to do that part of it. The voting, like we curate the votes. So they aren't crazy votes. And you have to have enough squad depth to do this. And that's really important to us. If the coach wants, who should it be? This left back, or this left back, then you have to know that all three of those left backs that are in the squad can do a job for you. Because otherwise, as you said, someone can come in and just push them out. Like if you have a star player who's scoring goal after goal after goal, there is no vote. That's the key thing. If you're Everton, right, well, do you know what? I haven't watched them for a while, but if you're Everton and you're voting whether or not Jordan Pickford's coming out or somebody else is coming in, you don't have to vote that every week. There's no need to vote like for your star players. You vote like the big decisions, the ones that the coaches genuinely are not, and then you push on from there. So as we go up the leagues, there are definitely going to be challenges in that. But we also, people said to us that you're going to get challenges as you go into semi-pro football. And so far it's worked. And when you go into T3, there will be definitely new challenges that we have to come across.
I think T3 is the hardest. Once you get out of T3, I think T2 will be a lot easier than.
I think realistically, once you get to T3, you're in there for a good number of years. So that's when that's the real difficult part, because once you get out of that, you only have to look at Prachuap as a good example of going from T3. In fact, we had a club many years ago, we sort of were helping with a club, and our first ever game was against Prachuap in T3. So they've gone from that all the way to the top. It can be done, but it's very, very difficult. So we know that to go through this, we have to look at clubs like Bangkok FC, how they did it, FC Bangkok, and how they did it to go all the way up the leagues. I know that they did great last year, got out of T3, getting into T2 now. We just have to make sure that we're realistic about it. I don't think we get into T3 in the year after we're in T2. I think this could be a long start out of that.
You never know. I mean, hopefully the momentum future. So a Wrexham building
we had documentary makers last year follow us everywhere we went. So cameras in your faces, which for me is not I thought. It's difficult to have people around because you play up to the camera sometimes. Other times when you forget they're there, you do the kind of things that you wish you hadn't. But yeah, I'm not sure that was the best idea. We've got somebody making the documentary now for us. I sort of dread to think how it comes across basically, but that's all part of the fun as well. You got to, yeah, of course.
Publicity is good publicity. Moving away from the football, and still related to football, you guys obviously work in collectibles. As a kid, I had an obsession with panini stickers, I think, especially like the series I had once. I always wonder in Thailand how we don't have more collectibles related to football, because we're actually in a society where all kids don't have smartphones. They haven't got all those temptations other kids have. And to me, trading cards for T1 would be really easy in for most Thai kids to learn about local players rather than a Premier League player as such, and get that sort of step into
the trading card market in Thailand is huge. That's the one thing most people don't see. It's massive. There's huge events here for trading cards. It's probably 6th or 7th biggest market for us as a company. Massive. It's why we've got things here. It's huge. But the Thai League definitely is missing a trick, because it's the way you engage the next generation of fans. There's one company called Massaman who are in Thailand that make trading cards for, I think, Port FC, a couple of others as well. And I know they do really well. They go down great. They go to the games and give them out and stuff like that. I just think that the Thai League sort of missed the trick. They don't realise really that the young fans coming through, stickers or collecting cards is their first way of really sort of connecting with the players. And if they did, for Futera United, we make a collection every year. So we give them away at the games for free. So anybody that comes gets a packet of Futera United cards in our hope that they start to sort of get behind their players that they find. And hopefully in a few years' time, they'll be the heroes, basically.
So, I mean, a centralised Thai league, well, it makes a lot more sense. But yeah, obviously, if people are short-sighted,
difficult. There's been discussions, there's been talks about it. I've been privy to a few, but it's I don't think it's clocked on yet. And it probably needs some prominent Thai people to probably get into there and say, look, let's get it on, because a little bit. And there are great people in the industry here that I think have thought about it as well. Every time you sit at dinner with anybody in the Thai sort of trading card industry, we talk about the idea that Thai League should have a set of cards. For me, it's just the fact that I'm here, and it would be nice to do something for them, basically. But doing Futera United ones makes us a little bit different, so that's quite nice, which is good.
With your model of ownership, do you see that sort of concept? Other people have talked about doing it in Thailand as well, after seeing you do it so well?
I don't think so. I think that the way that most people own football clubs here is for very different reasons to just the idea that you'll go up the leagues. You hear about clubs going into T3 who don't want to go up to T2. I don't quite understand what the point is then. In other words, what's the point of that? So our model is basically there to build a fan base and to build a foundation and structure that moves us up the leagues. And I'm not 100% sure that everybody wants that. I love what Bangkok FC have done in recent years, and sort of how they seem to wait to get their foundations ready to be able to then move up. I can understand that one. They're not ready for a few years, and then suddenly they feel they're ready. They put the money into the club, and their club goes into T2. I can see that one. But I don't think that anybody's even thought about doing the same thing as us. Simon, it's tough. It's really, really. There are times where you think to yourself, "Oh, I wish the left back was so and so." Like, I wish I did all this. I like there are times where you think about it, but like the juice is worth the squeeze at the end of the day. Coming match day, coming afterwards and having people. I don't know if there's many Thai teams that have people afterwards on a Discord channel talking about how shit this player was, how well this player played, etc. There's definitely a buzz around it. We feel like a Premier League team, and we're playing in the Thai semi-pro league in Thailand. Which.
So, what are your thoughts on Thai football overall? I mean, your hopes
I
for
think
the
it's
future?
technically really good, and I think it's tactically really bad. And I think that's probably the best way for me to describe what Thai football is. But I think it's getting better. I think tactically Thai football is getting better. I think people are coming in from major footballing countries. I know like guys from Spain came in a few years ago to work with the national team, etc. And so it can only get better, Simon. But I don't know. It would be interesting to see in 5 years' time. Like, I feel maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I felt like it was almost like a golden generation. We felt that Thai football was really going to push on, looked like easily the best country in Southeast Asia for Thai football, for football. But I'm not sure it has. I'm not sure it's moved on as much. You've got teams like JDT in Malaysia who are just taking football over here to an absolutely new level. And so I'd like to say, but I'm not sure.
I agree. COVID had an impact to an extent, and I think that's a lot of money drained out of Thai football then when there were big hopes. But I mean, I'm still positive. I think I'm quite like you, an eternal optimist. I always see them.
I think you also need absolute superstars. Every country needs a superstar for the country to get behind. And in that period, Messi J just coming through, his name, the way he played, etc., pushing towards, they had their own version of Messi. Like, that got kids excited about it. Everybody was talking about it. I think if you look now, say, if you look at Indonesia, Indonesia's just got like a guy called Kaka that's coming through. Bizarrely, like, everyone's named after other footballers, but he looks unbelievable. Like, that's why Indonesian football is probably going to really kick on in the next 2-3 years, because kids are getting far behind it. Teams in like England are now signing these players. I think Oxford United just signed one of their star players as well. I think you need that for everybody to get really excited about Thai football. And I think that we haven't got it at the moment, but it could come around.
I think we also haven't got the PR behind it to push those players. So I think there are players like Supernights at Burrow. I think it's a brilliant player. And there's a few others through the league, like Kakan at Muntong. They're great players, but they need that PR bandwagon to be building behind them and collectibles, etc., pushing it to actually push it forward. Outside, I mean, in Indonesia, you've got that huge guy who owns Inter Milan, who's invested so much money into the football league and promoting it. He seems to, obviously, he's doing it for his own end, but he's also pushing the whole league forward.
Getting 40,000 fans at games. Persib have got something like 10 million followers on social media. Like, this is, Indonesia has always been the sleeping giant. Like, it's the 4th or 5th biggest population on the planet. They've got, without stats, I'm a bit into stats, but it's something like 69% of all humans in Indonesia state that they're football fans. I don't think there's many countries on the planet that have that. Like, it's, the football fandom there is insane. And so they're a sleeping giant. They should be bigger than they are. But Thailand has always been better at football, and that's what you have to push on. But you need a perfect storm. You need a player that looks like Messi, called Messi, that comes through and like gets kids excited about the game. And I don't think we've got that at the moment.
No, I don't think so. I saw there's a kid in Brazil who's called Mahatma Gandhi, who just came onto the scene.
Well, there we go. Yeah, I've got to see the Indians won't get behind it.
Mark, finally, the most important question: when will the new blue elephant shirts be released?
We did this photo shoot yesterday. We hopefully, I've just been talking at a meeting this morning. We're taking some of the players down to Koh San Road. We're taking some of the fans down to Koh San Road as well. And we're going to take as many sort of cultural images of them in with locals, with tourists wearing the shirt. And we're going to do a little bit of a sort of social media campaign on it. Once that is done, I would think in 2 weeks, the kit will be launched online and you can purchase the kit online. But Simon, I will send you one. You just tell me your size, send you a shirt.
I look forward to it. I'll wear it on the show for you.
Stuff. Yeah.
Mark, so much.
No worries at all.